When you make an OC, tell me, who do you love more, the goody two-shoes main character or the hot, morally questionable villain? If you see my last video, I redesigned the main characters for my humanized color world, and this time we're designing the employees of Monochromatic Inc. You may have guessed are our villains. So without further ado, let's get into our first character. Our first character is Bishop Noir, the COO of Monochromatic Inc., and he's the color black. He personally funds Monochromatic Inc. itself, including their controversial reconstruction project, which is basically gentrification, as this commenter put it. Bishop's old design was certainly something. Emo hair, unbuttoned suit with no tie, and a brooding, super serious personality. It was laughable, honestly. Basically, he was a tryhard who still somehow didn't try hard enough. There was a point during Bishop's transition where he had a manhwa boy era, and he looked like the seme in a BL webtoon. Bishop had gained a little sass during this era, which was tea, but honestly, he was still mostly just deadpan. He was also super powerful and could beat anyone because he just could. I'm gonna go on a rant for a second. I hate villains who are too fucking perfect. Like, they never slip up, never look stupid, never get upset, never even show any sort of indication that they're even a character. They're just these untouchable, stoic, but also effortlessly charming gods of destruction. Like, boo, lame, boo. Give me a villain who actually has some flaws, not just morally. Whatever, I'm just saying, Mary Sue logic doesn't just apply to protagonists. But anyways, for Bishop's new personality, I wanted him to be a bit more sassy and smug, and way more of a troll. He can actually be quite playful, but if he doesn't like you, he can also be as charming as a brick wall. Though to most, he comes across as unapproachable, he can be a bit socially inept at times, so the illusion is broken pretty easily. This man baby talks his cat, for Christ's sake. You think he takes anything seriously? So for his design, I wanted to make him a bit more accurate to the 90s, which was when the story takes place. So I gave him a bit of a baggier suit along with a harness underneath for style. His hair is also a bit more longer and more of a mullet style. Another thing I did was make him skinnier, like almost underweight. He'd definitely be very conscious about what he eats. He's a chicken and broccoli kind of guy. He is one of the faces of the company. He has to look good, you know? Imagine he's really into fashion too. Just a side note. If you don't know, Bishop has a brother named Willis, but actually, in the original, they weren't even related. He had this, like, rivals who hate each other but also don't dynamic. I don't know. And I kind of thought, what if they were twins? Because I'm biased. They used to have a kind of golden retriever black cat dynamic. I think, is that only used for couples? Whatever the non-couple version of that is. But as Willis's personality started to become more cynical, Bishop kind of needed to contrast him more. So for the new dynamic, Bishop and Willis are half-brothers born around the same time because their parents were on freak timing. 2 moms and 1 dad. Bishop loves teasing Willis, bordering on bullying, but he does actually care about his brother a lot, even if his way of showing it is just invading Willis's personal space all the time, rather than actually saying anything nice. And here is Bishop. Love him. Mwah, mwah. It's funny that Bishop went from a generic manhwa seme to a generic Tumblr sexy man. I suppose that's just the life of an OC artist. Go figure.
Are you a feminist?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a feminist too. I love to see women on the top.
Up next is Bishop's aforementioned brother, Willis Liblanc. Willis works as a project manager for Monochromatic Inc. and is the color white. Don't cancel me. I'm sorry. I made him white. He's the color white. I saw a couple people comment about Yako. That was not on purpose. Don't think too much about what race the characters are, please. These are arbitrary choices. Willis's first design was so boring and uninspired that I barely drew him during this time. The white button-up and gray jeans are just not doing him any favors. I remember the whole point was he's supposed to be boring, but this is too much. There's interesting ways to make a boring character, you know what I'm saying? After his Steve Jobs era, Willis started gaining something resembling a personality. He gave him these reading glasses and leaned into the color theory of white being cold and unapproachable. That was okay, but still not enough. Then one day, I guess something possessed me and I just gained a random nerd obsession. Suddenly Willis got a lot snarkier and cynical and his glasses just kept getting bigger. And alas, Phase 3 Willis was born. But there was one major issue. He got way too hot. Like, look at this. Someone tell me why I genuinely thought this was a nerdy, ugly loser. I was out here proving the girls only want Henry Cavill with glasses meme right. Like, I was proving them right. But then I drew this sketch, and everything changed. I thought, what if he had a receding hairline? Beautiful. It's perfect. Wrap it up, fellas. And with that, a star was born, people. Now, Willis is a snarky, kind of bitchy guy who thoroughly enjoys micromanaging people, particularly women. He thinks very highly of himself, but he's also deeply insecure. He's kind of a everyone hates me, but I don't deserve it kind of guy. He does deserve it. Like, he'll say the most out-of-pocket things, then immediately backtrack if someone calls him out on it. He also can be a little bigoted. You know those color mood charts? He basically stereotypes polychromes into those. Another lore addition is that Willis has a massive crush on the CEO of Monochromatic Inc. He talks to her on occasion, but most of the time it has to go through Bishop, which pisses him off bad. Bishop doesn't even like Sylvia like that, but he'll definitely up the flattery just to make Willis jealous. Eventually, though, both Willis and Bishop end up catching feelings for her, and you can imagine how many problems that's going to create. And here is Willis. We went from a nice guy to Redditor light. Be careful who you mean to. He might... be careful being mean to a nice guy. He might turn on you and fucking, I don't know. He's gonna write something mean about you in a forum.
Oh, you're a lesbian? That's cool. Do a fucking backflip then. Do a fucking backflip.
Our next character is the CEO of Monochromatic Inc., Sylvia. She's our main antagonist, though in the beginning half of the story we don't actually see her. So about Sylvia's original design, it wasn't bad per se, but it was noticeably weaker in execution compared to my other designs at the time. Originally, she was more of a pop star diva type character. She was also ambiguously brown and, you know. So I decided to make her black because, totally not because I realized there wasn't a single brown or black woman in my entire roster. Whoops. Anyways, I swapped out her pencil skirt and jacket for like a power jumpsuit because business. I gave her a diamond motif, giving her some sparkles on her clothes and jewelry. I especially like the diamond earrings. Also, another thing, I gave her those, what are they called? Those baddie nails. I imagine she will rip someone's throat. Can I see that? She can cut people with them is what I'm trying to say. I also straightened her hair because I thought it made her look a bit more intimidating in my opinion. And it also helped with the sharpness of her design. As for her personality, Sylvia was always kind of stoic, so I just kept with that. She's the kind of person who responds to everything with just a raised eyebrow. She's usually behind the scenes, not liking to draw much attention to herself. Well, as little attention as you can, dressed like that, but I digress. She usually leaves the dirty work to her employees, but when that's off the table, she isn't above getting her hands dirty. Now onto relationships, because I'm sure you're dying to know. Sylvia isn't receptive to Willis, like, at all. She figures that he likes her because he's not exactly subtle about it, but she's just nice to him for professionalism's sake and prefers to keep her interactions with him to a minimum. Understandable. Bishop, on the other hand, is a little bit of a different story. Since they work so closely together, they've developed a pretty strong friendship. She tolerates his attempts at being charming, but mostly just rolls her eyes and moves on. I can't really imagine Sylvia in a romantic relationship. I think she's more interested in her work of all things, but that certainly doesn't stop the guys from trying. And here is Sylvia. What's that one song? She a baddie, she knows she a 10. Whatever, moving on. Next character is a Mr. Charles Charlie Culvin, the owner of a popular club in Color City, and a self-proclaimed underground filmmaker. And he's the color charcoal. Do y'all catch my naming conventions? I know you do. While he makes a lot of his money from Monochromatic Inc. due to his early investment, that's not his main source of income. Oh no. Charlie creates and distributes some saucy content featuring his dancers, though he insists on calling them actors and himself the director. Charlie's original design was just okay. He basically just looked like Bishop 2.0. He was just a cool design pretty much, which is fine, but I decided to give him a much more sleazier vibe. I gave him a colored undershirt with a pattern and gave him a lot of jewelry. I also made his locks a bit smaller since I wasn't really a fan of how I drew them originally, but that's just personal preference. More than anything though, I wanted to make his personality much more flawed because he is supposed to be a bad guy. Like, guys, make your villains flawed. No, not that flawed! Charlie's an incredibly vain smooth talker who's seemingly unaffected by anything. And despite his wealth, he's ridiculously stingy, specifically when it comes to anyone who isn't a pretty girl. If someone, say, another man, comes asking for owed money, suddenly it's, I ain't got no money. As for relationships, Charlie is Sylvia's stepbrother, and she really doesn't like him. Even as kids, she can never stand him. Charlie was adopted by a single woman who later got married to Sylvia's father. Nowadays, the two only ever interact through a business lens, as they had a falling out in their early 20s. Though Charlie always still acts overly familiar with her, purposely trying to get on her nerves. She tolerates him because family, but other than that, she'd rather not talk to him. As for Charlie's dynamic with Willis, it's interesting. Charlie relentlessly bullies Willis, bordering on harassment, honestly. He is on that man's ass 24/7. Massive pause on that one. Charlie likes to think that he does this because he finds it funny, but if he thought about it for more than 1 second, he realizes that he probably just is more interested in Willis than he lets on. But that's for him to figure out later. And here's Charlie. I'm curious of what y'all think of him. By the way, if you want to see your characters drawn by me, my commissions are currently open. Only 10 slots though, so they're limited availability. Moving on. Next character is Suki Sakurai. She's light/Sakura pink and is currently a high school senior interning at Monochromatic Ink. Since she attends a prestigious private school, it only makes sense that they'd have internship programs, I think. Suki's design and personality have gone through some interesting phases. Originally, she was kind of a Kobani ripoff, if you know who that is. Chanceman fell off so hard. Suki's whole thing was having a crush on Bishop, and Willis was jealous for some reason. The only thing I decided to keep from that version was her crush on Bishop. Personality-wise, I made her a lot more excitable and a little ditzy, kind of like that one girl from Turning Red. I forgot her name, but, you know, except she's not 12. Design-wise, I kept her school uniform because I just liked how it looked, but I added a little flower clip because, you know, Sakura flowers. It fits. Suki's definitely really boy crazy, and her biggest crush is, of course, Bishop. Obviously, he doesn't give her as much as a second glance, but she still dreams. I don't have much in terms of actual lore for her, but I imagine she's just pretty out of touch. She lives with her parents and older brother Masuki. I'll get to him at some point, but today is not that day. Release me! And here's Suki. I don't have anything else to say about her. Moving on.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Je procure notre soleil. Je veux m'en venger. Merci beaucoup. Je hurle. Oui, oui, baguette. Bisous.
Our next character is Sherry Morello. She's the color cherry pink, and while she takes odd jobs here and there, her most consistent gig is being a dancer at Charlie's club, that being where she met her boyfriend, Bishop. You already know he needs to be mentioned in every section. Her original design was, like, kind of terrible. Like, I see the vision, but also, no. I decided to give her a sort of punk vibe. Again, I'm not too well versed in subcultures, but I'm pretty sure this is punk. Her headcanon voice is Aisha Erotica. Sherry's original, the person I was giving, like, Jinx, Harley Quinn, you know, manic pixie dream girl vibes. But I definitely wanted to up her trashiness this time around. She just be wearing whatever the fuck, honestly. I imagine she dressed somewhat normal when they first met. But oh, did he find out quick. She's definitely very violent, like, this bitch is kind of crazy. She is armed and dangerous, and still serving cunt. What's your excuse? As for the relationship development, her and Bishop were initially just besties. But honestly, with the way I was drawing them, they were basically already a couple. Like, I don't know what cope I was on, but y'all out here making out with your friends? Okay. And here's Cherry. I don't have anything to say about her. I do love her design, but damn, I ain't got a lot to say. And here are all the finished villains. I think they all are definitely a massive upgrade from the originals, and I do like them a lot. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you next week.